Hi, this is Jacqueline with Nickel and Dime Decor, and I'm a little bit under the weather today, so you're not going to see my ugly face. But I want to show you what I made today. It's this darling mug rug. I just think it turned out so cute, and I will show you how to make it. And please excuse the flabby arms and the football game in the background. Just concentrate on the beautiful little mug rug, and I hope you enjoy watching it. God bless you. Bye. Okay guys, here's what's going on so far. I had this novelty print that has baking mixers, spoons, and wise little sayings on it. And I had originally made placemats out of it. Well, I want to make some mug rugs. And so I had this orange ombre fabric. And what I did was the first 3 strips, I put the black in the middle and 2 orange on each side and sewed them like you were going to make a 9-patch. Then the next 3 strips, I put the orange in the middle and 2 black on each side and sewed them together. Then I sewed the 3 pieces together. So I have 6 strips. These are 2.5-inch strips. I had this template, round template, that I don't know where I got it. It's about an 8.5, and it's really too big for a mug rug. But after I think I'll sew a 1/2-inch seam, and that will cut it down to, a good size, I think. So I'm going to, I've marked my 2. I was hoping I would get 3, but I cut my strips about 21 inches. If I would have cut them a little bit longer, I could have gone ahead and got 3 out of it. And now what I'm going to do, when I cut my circles out, I'm going to put one of the circle down here on the bottom will have more orange on it. See, it'll have 2 prominent orange strips, and then, well, it really doesn't matter, but I'm going to put an orange backing on one of them and the black on the other one. And what we're going to do is cut our piece of batting to fit, and then we're just going to sew around the circle. And like I said, I'm going to put a 1/2 inch, I think. Now, if you have a smaller circle and you put a 6.5, 6 3/4 inch circle, you only want a 1/4 inch seam. But mine is a little big, so I'm going to use a 1/2 inch seam. And you leave a space up at the top or wherever so you can turn it. And don't leave a whole big area, because you're doing this on a arc. It's on a circle, and it's very hard to get it to fold in right and look, like a normal circle. So don't make your opening too big, just enough to pull it out. Then after you get it pulled out, smooth it all real good. Run your little crochet hook or something around the circle. Get the seams pressed, real good. And then press it. Press it real good. And press it with your seams turned in at the top. And then don't worry about sewing it together, because we're going to do a stitch right on the edge, like 1/8 of an inch, and it's going to catch that opening. And as we progress, well, I'll show you how to, how we're doing this. And then you see my piece of fabric over here. I'm going to cut out some of these little sayings and things and put them on the orange part, like a spoon. See the spoon over there? And anything that I think will fit. And then I'm going to sew it on. I'm going to press it with Pellon and then peel off the back and then put it on there and applique it on. Then I'm going to stitch it so it'll be on there for sure. But won't this make the cutest mug rug you ever saw? And it's not necessarily Halloweenish, it's fallish, I like to call it. But if you want to use Halloween fabric, it's your choice, whatever you'd like to do. But you can, after I get these little pieces appliqued on, you can hand stitch them, or you can do it on the machine. But when we get there, we'll look at that. And to see this way, by turning this like this, there's no binding. It's so simple, okay? I hope I've made myself perfectly clear. And if you have something that can draw circles or find a circle, find some kind of circle template to do yours. Sometimes a saucer is pretty round, but sometimes it's not perfectly round. So see what you can find. Okay, I'll be back. Well, what do you think? It's not going to be precious. I cut out the little emblems, the little mottos, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to, like I say, I'm going to put it on my Pellon and peel it off and then iron it on. And then I'm going to stitch it with black thread and just go around it. And be sure it's secure. I might use a blanket stitch, which will just catch it and then make an edge around it. I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'll show that to you after I get it done. But I just love, I could put some more emblems on the side of the orange, but I think that's enough. I really do. I think that's enough. And like I say, one's going to have the black and one's going to have the orange on the back side. And see, when we put the little pieces on there, the friendship and the spoon and 3 cups of laughter, 2 cups of patience, when we put them on there, then I can just do a little stitch on the edges of the black strips. And that's all the quilting we need. That will hold it together and be quite sufficient. So I think I've got to cut out now the batting and the backing, and then we'll put it together and sew it, and then we'll just make that little stitch all the way around so that there is no binding. It is so simple and so darn cute. All right, be right back. Okay, here are my little sandwiches. Here's my top layer, my top, my backing, and I tried to put it on there, keep this going even with this, you know, so the lettering is the same. Then my batting's on the bottom. On this one it doesn't matter because it's... Now, I already have my little letters ironed on, pressed on there. And after we sew this all the way around, then I am going to go around this and do some stitching here. If you were happy with your circle and it's the right size that you want, you only do a 1/4 inch seam. But I want to cut mine down just a little bit, so I'm going to do a 1/2 inch. And then when I get it done, I'm going to clip just up to that stitching. Don't dare clip the stitching. You've ruined it. But right up to it, I'm just going to do some little clips all the way around it. And that makes, when you have something circular, that helps it for the seam to lay flat. So that's it so far. Moving right on. It's kind of difficult to turn it, only leaving about that much. Just takes a little bit of time, and I won't show you that. But I will show you after I get it turned how you need to push the seams out. And remember, when you do your clipping for your opening, do not clip the opening. Don't do your little snips on this 2.5 inch, because then it's really too hard to fold it under and sew up your seam. So on your opening, do not clip them like you do on all the rest of them. Alrighty, I'm gonna go on ahead and sew, and I'll come back and after I get it turned, I'll show you what it looks like. I wanted to show you just a minute. When you get started, go back and forth to reinforce your seam, because that's where you're going to be tugging and pulling when you open it. Doesn't matter where you start on here. And like I've decided on a 3/8 because it's my mark on here is easy for me to keep it turned to the 3/8. And just keep turning. Just have your hand on it. You're not really turning it, but you're guiding it. And I'm going awfully slow, but that's to my benefit because I want it to be perfect. Kind of have to hold your seams down. I don't have a whole lot of black thread on my bobbin. I hope to goodness I have enough. I'm almost there, and I'll show you about where I'm going to stop. Keep your finger down on this so your fabric doesn't come up on you. Okay, I'm going to stop, And I'm going to back stitch a couple of times. And there's my opening. It's not a whole lot, but it's enough. I'm really going to have to tug and pull and work, and it's going to take some time. You just pull and inch it out and pull and inch it out. It's a tedious process. If it doesn't, it just absolutely is too hard, I will loosen the threads out to about right there. But that is, that's only 1.5 inches, and I probably should have 2 inches. I probably should have opened it at least by 2 inches, but I'm going to see if I can get it pulled out. And if not, I'll just pull my threads back a little ways. Alrighty, be right back. Okay, here it is all sewed together. And where my opening is, I've got it pretty good. It's not perfect. The black needs to go down a little bit more, and I ironed it, but I didn't iron it just exactly. Okay. And now I'm going to put it under here, and like I say, just do as close as I can around the edge. I put this, the foot, I put the right hand piece of it off. My fabric is in the middle between my 2 feet. And that's just as best I can describe it. Is my fabric is just right in the middle, right here between these 2 feet. And I'm going to put my foot down and make sure that that's going to be good, and I think it will. And I start with my opening because I want to get that closed up as soon as possible. And I didn't back stitch because when I come back around, I'll just go over it. And just follow like you've been doing. Just make it move as you go, and keep that fabric in the middle. Must be out of bobbin, and I knew that was going to happen. That's what happens when you run out of bobbin. It all comes out at once and makes a big mess. But you get the idea. That's what we're doing, going all the way around the edge like that. Okay? Now I'll fix my bobbin and we'll be back. Okay, I'm fixing to go around my spoon, and I wanted you to watch with me if you can see. You're going to start with your needle to the left, and it's going to go into the edge of the fabric. Oh, I don't know. I can't tell you. And then it's going to go over to the right and catch the outside of the spoon. And I know you can't see, but see, this is already stitched. and it just feeds it in and out and in and out, and you run it right by the fabric, and you don't even know it's done. But you have to go very slow, needless to say, because if you get in a hurry, you can't go fast enough to, because you're following the edge there, and you don't want it to go too much past. Now when we get to the corner, I'm going to have to pivot, and I'm going to go kind of like in a corner, and I want it to catch and go back and then pivot again and go around the corners. Now I've got to move it a little more. And now we're kind of headed on a straight path. Now I can go down. I know you probably can't see. I don't have the camera up close enough, and I'm sorry about that, but I just wanted you to kind of see the speed that I'm going and how often you have to pivot around corners. And, you know, make it look as natural as possible. It's a little tedious, but it's doable. Anything worthwhile is maybe a little tedious, but don't worry about any little threads that are sticking out. That's inconsequential. Okay, and when you meet your beginning thread, go one stitch more and stop. And that's, you've overlapped in a sense, and that's good. And there she be. These little tiny scissors let you get pretty much right to the very, very nth degree. But I'm not going to get that one little bitty dude. And it's nice on the back. I mean, you know, it's not fancy or anything, but it's not ugly either. Now, it's done. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go around the edges to the inside one more time. Why? I don't know. I'm going to put my presser foot on that seam I just sewed. Oh, I forgot to change stitches. That's not good, huh? I don't want to do a buttonhole stitch around it. Not good. And you know where my needle messed up, I don't like that. And I'll try to fix that a little bit better, but I think it's just the way it is. Sometimes your machine does bad things, and sometimes my machine doesn't go back to, you know, when I do a decorative stitch, it doesn't go back. I have to turn my machine off and let it reset. I don't really know why, but it does. All right, let's do this real quickly. And get this done. Now I know, I don't do anything for Halloween, but I can see the possibilities with this, and I know there's a lot of people that love to make things for Halloween. Now there's a thread I have to get out. But you just let your imagination run wild and take off. I don't know why, I just think this, it just needed this second stitch. And now when you meet your, now go back once and you're done. Now, okay, if you want to stitch right here down, right by the seam, right here, and right here, you can finish it off that way. I'm not going to do that now, but you sure can do it and finish it off. And see how that needed that second stitch, I think? Is that not the cutest thing you ever saw? I so hope you'll make one and run the video back. If you don't remember how I put it together, run it back as many times as you need to. That's what my channel is for you to learn by running it backwards and working at your pace. Thank you so much for watching. God bless.